What's happening? I'm Isaiah Coleman, and this is Masculinity Monday, brought to you by The Connected. I am the curator of The Connected, and I love to delve deep into topics related to our masculinity. I love talking and celebrating masculinity, especially healthy masculinity. Masculinity oftentimes gets a bad stigma around it because oftentimes we see toxic masculinity portrayed in our culture and in our society. So I think my goal is to shine a light on the healthy and positive masculinity that we have in us deep down. Every man has in us, and I want to celebrate that. I want to bring attention to that. So thanks for tuning in with me on this beautiful day. Today I want to talk to you about a topic that impacts us all, men and women. But I think men traditionally have not been given the tools to navigate this aspect of life in the most healthy way. And I think women, they have more outlets, they have more opportunity to discuss this aspect of life more often, more supportive friends and peers around them. And I think men, we're just starting to catch up and having spaces and places and communities where we can naturally be ourselves. So I want to talk to you today about this concept of emotional regulation. All right, emotional regulation. Emotional regulation is none other than our ability to regulate our emotions as they come up, able to be aware of them as they come up. What is the potential trigger that's causing these emotions to come up? The acceptance of that emotion, and then the expression on how do we behave once that emotion has come up or has taken over us, right? Or impacted us, right? So just really quick, I love to give an example. I love to try to give some form of illustration of what I'm trying to articulate to you today. And in my life, just recently, I had two experiences take place. I had an experience with a peer, and this conversation, it was a tough conversation, and I noticed just a lot of emotion coming up, from inside of me, and I feel like I almost got out of character. I almost got to a point where it could have gotten more aggressive. It could have gotten more heated. And I'm so thankful that I've developed and I've practiced skills that keep me regulated, that keep my emotions in check so that I don't allow my emotions to get the best of me and I don't have some irrational behavior take place. And the second moment recently that had caused my emotions to spike was a conversation with my mom, right? My mom, I think everybody's mom sometimes gets on their nerves. And in particular with my mom in this moment, my mom does this thing where she's very, very quick to share what she has going on in her life, even without me asking sometimes. But very, very seldomly does she ask how I'm doing or how I'm able to manage things when things are starting to get up to here, right? When I'm starting to get really, really exhausted or stressed potentially. So that triggers me. That triggers me because it's like, come on, mom. I got a lot going on. We got the three boys. I got the job. I got all this stuff going on. And I'm not saying that in the sense of me being more important or better or any of that kind of stuff, but saying it in the sense of like, hey, always practice being more interested than interesting. Now, I don't want to go too far off topic, but those instances with my mother sometimes trigger me. So I say that to say, so here's what I do. Here's some examples or some tools that I use to help regulate my emotions when I feel my emotions begin to build up inside of me. The first thing I like to do is just to breathe. I like to just take a deep breath. And oftentimes that brings me back to the moment. Oftentimes that brings me back into the present, and I'm no longer being taken down this rabbit hole or building up this narrative that my emotions and my thinking can naturally do. And it's helpful. I do it at work. I do it with the kids. I do it with my wife. I do it almost in any setting. It's very quick, right? Very, very simple to do. Second thing I do, I like to also practice some mindfulness. There's times when I feel emotions build up, but I may not have the opportunity to walk away or go do things that I may not be able to leave the situation in that moment. So sometimes what I do is, I'll breathe while I'm still in that situation or in that space or in that moment. But the moment that conversation is done, the moment that meeting is done, I try to go find some solitude. I try to go find some solitude so that one, I can collect my thoughts, and I can do these three things. I can be aware and acknowledge the emotion. I can accept the emotion, and I can express the emotion in a healthy way. So if I go find solitude, I'll practice mindfulness. And mindfulness is nothing more than me focusing on my breath, focusing on the sounds that are happening around me, checking in with my body to see how this emotion may be feeling physically within my body. Where am I feeling it in my body, in my gut, in my chest, in my head, in my arms, my legs, whatever it may be. And that's always been a huge tool or benefactor for me. And then lastly, the most important tool that I use to help regulate my emotions is the gym. The gym has been number one. I say to a lot of people, I played football, and working out was naturally a big part of playing football. But now I look at working out more, I look at it more as a medicine for me, because when life and work and children and things like that really begin to kind of weigh you down, going to the gym, there's no remedy, there's no cure better than going to the gym and kind of working it out of your system. There's times where I go in there on some pre-workout, man, and I go crazy. So the gym has been huge in my life. So I would just like to say, men, instead of getting emotionally dysregulated and behaving in a way that's not healthy, I would challenge you and encourage you to take a moment when those emotions trigger, try to pinpoint what that emotion is, what's triggering you also in that moment, but try to take inventory on what that emotion is, try to pinpoint it, and then try to practice maybe one of those three things on either taking a breath, finding solitude, and practicing mindfulness, or going to the gym. Will help you in regulating your emotions in this crazy world. All right. I'm Isaiah Coleman. This is Masculinity Monday. I hope you appreciated today's session, today's message, today's talking point, and I hope you tune in to next week's episode. Like, follow, subscribe if you're into this type of stuff. All right. Peace out.